Do you want lay people bidding on your auctions or not? Today on Behind the Gavel with Jason, we're going to talk about an article I just read about retail versus wholesale buyers at auction and why you would want to have retail buyers bidding on your items in addition to wholesale buyers. Thank you all for watching today. My name is Jason Roski. I'm the owner of the Casey Auction and Appraisal Company here in Kansas City. And today we're going to be talking about an article I read in the Providence Business News. It was shared by a fellow auctioneer, and I was working on sharing this on my own page. And the title of the article was quite good. What is going on here? Why can't I do anything? The title of the article was Auctions Cater to Changing Ages and Tastes by Elizabeth Graham in the Providence, in the Providence Business News. And it was a pretty good article. Most of the things talked in there, most of the auctioneers talked in there, talked about how tastes have changed, which is absolutely true. It changes with every generation, with every new group of collectors. And it talked about using different platforms. Obviously, online marketing is something most of us use. Thank you for hitting the like button, whoever's doing that. If you're watching, have any questions, go ahead and post them here. If you like something I'm saying, hit the like button. I'm guessing my son Tristan is watching this somehow or another. He's the one who usually pours on the likes really hard for that. But hi Stan, thanks for watching. But talked about changing taste, changing ways to market, changing ways to reach buyers and sellers. And there was an article, a quote in the article, and like I said, overall it was a good article, Providence Business News, about the current state of the auction industry, how different things are more demand now than they have been historically. But there was a quote in there by Mike Corcoran, who is an auctioneer in Providence, Rhode Island. And his quote was, "We have a cadre of people who have been coming to us for years, 20 to 30 people who come to every single auction. If more than 25% of our total is bought by lay people, not dealers, it's a poor auction because the lay people do not know the value of these old things." And I had to read it 3 times to make sure I read it correctly. Doing a little bit more research, I found another article about Mike Corcoran, and the author wrote it as a quote-unquote very dealer-friendly auction. And I thought, well, that is just bizarre. And reading the article, he basically says that he doesn't want to sell to retail people, to lay people, because they don't know what they're bidding on, which I think is one of the most foolish, foolhardy, irresponsible types of mentalities to be present for an auctioneer whose job it is, as far as I am aware and concerned, is to be the highest price possible for our clients. We have a fiduciary responsibility to our clients, and we desperately need and want dealer participation because dealers will bid on anything they feel there's a profit to be had in. And they will pay, look, there's different values. There's low wholesale, high wholesale, retail, and price points in between. But most dealers will bid low wholesale for anything they feel they might have a buyer for in the next couple of years. So if they feel like they can sell a chair for $100, they're going to pay $30 to $50 for it every time it comes up for auction, because they know at some point they'll sell it for $75 to $100, and that'll be worth it for them to invest the time and space and effort to buy. So we need those. We cater to dealers. It's our business. We're a wholesale. Auctions are a liquidation of assets. It's not a shop. We have to get price points, but we're not a shop, and we understand that. We explain that to our clients. But we're not a give it away. If you're just going to sell to a handful of dealers, why hire anybody to do that for you? And you can do that yourself. Spend a couple hours on the phone, find the dealers in town that go to the auctions, and sell directly to them and cut out the auctioneer. We kind of changed our practices several years ago. Obviously, up until about 6.5 years ago, we were having auctions, live auctions, stand around and wait auctions, I call them now. In the West Bottoms here, we had a big gallery, a couple hundred people would show up. I know exactly what this guy's talking about. The 20 to 30 people who came to every auction and bought regardless of what else is going on. We had those 20, 30, 40 people that came to every one of our auctions, and they would bid on a little bit of everything. We had some that were specializing in furniture, but they'd buy a rug too, or pictures of it felt to match the decor of what they were selling at the time. We had dealers who would bid on everything because they had huge shops and they were estate liquidation type people, and it didn't matter if it was silver or glass or pottery or pictures or frames or rugs or furniture. If it was a price that they could afford to pay, thought they had buyers for at some point, they were willing and ready and able buyers. And so I understand that mentality of you have to have those dealers in the house every auction. And we have to have dealers online every auction for the same reason. Retail buyers are only looking for specific things in every auction. But to work with somebody, and there are people here in the Kansas City area and in Kansas and Missouri and everywhere across the country who may not say this publicly, but you can tell by the way they process their business, the way they handle their business, that they're essentially telling sellers the same thing. Hey, we're going to get your stuff sold as fast as we can, as quickly as we can. We know our job is to liquidate it tomorrow. And there is a time and place for that. But if you have good antiques, good collectibles, good artwork, good furniture, why sell it to a bunch of dealers? We have focused on reaching, and a lot of our colleagues have focused on reaching collectors and users and decorators with their bidding because they're going to pay more. And from a seller standpoint, my thought is my sellers want to receive more money, not less. And if you have just a room of dealers there, you're never going to get more money consistently. There are times when dealers will pay more than retail for a variety of reasons, but consistently over the long term, I feel like having retail participation has benefited our sellers to a degree that is almost unmeasurable. Some of the data that we can provide and do provide and can share, when we had the stand around and wait auctions, where people waiting for 3, 4, 5 hours for us to sell the entirety of an auction, we were averaging between 10 and 15 items per invoice. So for every invoice we print, for every buyer, they were buying on average 10 to 15 items. Now we're 2.5 to 3.5 items per invoice, which is a strong indication of retail bidder participation because, again, retail buyers aren't interested in buying quantity. They're interested in buying quality and or singular items for their own collection. Dealers, again, will buy more quantity so they have more items on their invoice. And so it's a way for us to measure how effective our marketing is, how effective our outreach is, and how good our assets are that we're selling. We find that we have really good assets. We get a lot more lay people. Ooh, I always get concerned when I see a frowny face come up on the screen. When we have better quality assets, we had a lot more lay people, quote unquote, I call them customers or retail buyers. And we also get a lot of dealer participation because dealers want better quality merchandise for their shops, and they have clients line up for better quality merchandise as well. So in one aspect, he's saying that if they have a lot of just dead stock or run-of-the-mill things, that might be part of the reason you would want to have a room full of dealers bidding, because they'll bid on the generic pieces because of what we talked about before. Again, thank you for watching. We're talking about retail versus wholesale buyers at your auction. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and post a comment here on Facebook if you're watching us live on Friday morning. Otherwise, you can post a comment. We'll get to them when we see them. If you're watching on YouTube later on, go ahead and post a comment below, and we'll address those as we can. We started about 3 or 4 years ago really focusing heavily on social media marketing. And because of that, we have really seen an increase in lot views and bidder participation and retail bidder participation. And a lot of the colleagues across the country that we look up to and work with are doing very similar things. And the way the auction market has changed for all of us that do this now and plan on doing this for a longer time. If I was at the end of my career, I may not be as excited or interested in this aspect of it. But we're looking at how do we best serve buyers today, knowing that sellers will always exist. People will always sell homes. They'll always downsize. There's there will always be merchandise to sell. In the baby boomer market, that tidal wave of bodies and of collections and of estates is still, we're still in the infancy of that process of estate liquidation and distribution from those huge collections and accumulations that have been put together over the last 40 or 50 years. Baby boomers are staying in their houses longer, as is the greatest generation, many of that generation are still in their original house. And so there has already started to be, and will continue to be, a huge influx of merchandise into the marketplace. And we feel the only way to adequately serve our clients is to continue to look for ways to serve our buyers in a way that makes it easy, transparent, and accessible for them to do so. And I was just down in New Orleans at the National Auctioneers Association conference and show, spoke about marketing, but I also was there to learn about new software programs, new software technologies, new industry standards to try and keep our level, raise our bar to cutting edge current day practices. And there's some things we're going to be doing the next 3 to 6 months that will help us reach more retail buyers and even more wholesale buyers. Because again, every auction needs wholesale and retail buyers to keep that price point at a good, solid foundation so that everybody feels that the effort was worth it, that the seller feels that their items are respected in the marketplace and have the attention that they deserve, and that the buyers are happy with the results of what they got. And so there's a lot of, transparency in descriptions and photography is a crucial aspect of any auctioneer's business anymore. And when you're searching for and shopping for an auctioneer to sell for you, you want to look at how do they treat their buyers? How do they treat their assets? Do they take the time to take good quality photos? Do they take the time to write quality descriptions? And it can be a short description, but does it tell you the information that you need as a bidder, as a buyer, as a potential collector? Does it give you the information you need to make an intelligent, informed decision? Those are the kinds of sellers you want to work with if you're in the situation where you need to sell assets in whatever venue. It doesn't matter if it's cars or machinery or industrial equipment. Look for the auctioneers who take the time to do those jobs well. I can take a picture with a cell phone all day long and post it out there and get response to it. But we take the time to take a better quality photograph and take better quality photographs, plural, and write a very informed description about the asset. And there's a lot of my competitors and colleagues that do the same. There's a lot who don't. And so when you're looking for a seller, those are the things you want to be looking for. That's how they're treating their current sellers, how they're going to treat you as a seller in the future. How they're treating the current customers is how they will treat other customers in the future. And so you want to make sure you're looking for somebody who considers the act of selling other people's assets a high priority, or is it just a way to get a check? And you can do that again by checking out their track record, the quality of work they do, and what they're doing in and around the community, around the antiques and estate liquidation marketplace. Or again, doesn't matter if it's cars, industrial, restaurant, whatever somebody's selling, real estate. If they're doing the job well for others, they'll do the job well for you. And that's the best you can hope for from any auctioneer. Again, thank you all so much for watching. The weather and temperatures have turned here in Kansas City. It's been very, very Page Truth. There's nothing more annoying or what may come off as shady than a short, poor description of an item. Absolutely, Paige. And I look at auctions around the country, and I see this regularly. Die-cast dog. I just bought a group of die-cast dogs from an auction house. They're gold-painted Vienna bronzes. A little bit of a difference. And if you're a seller and you have items, you want to make sure that your seller, the auction company you're talking to, understands the difference. And sometimes the seller doesn't know, and just that's what happens. You do with a full estate, your mom and dad or grandmother's estate, and they have things you just don't know. That happens. We miss things. It just happens. We're not all infallible. But generally speaking, if you do a good job on the vast majority of what you offer and can clearly describe and portray what you're selling on the majority of items, you'll have enough buyers in your database who look at your auctions who will understand the difference between a die-cast dog and a cold-painted bronze dog, or pink milk glass and Mount Washington peach blow. Those are things that those little differences, just having the right title can make a huge difference. And again, we're not all infallible. We make mistakes, and there are some things that we just don't know. But we think we do a good enough job of finding buyers, presenting everything we sell to the best of our abilities, that even the items that we don't know, find enough buyers to find a reasonable price point. So yeah, Paige, you're right. There's nothing more annoying or shady than a short, poor description of an item. And again, the length isn't as important as the quality of the description. A porcelain plaque, or is it a KPM porcelain plaque? 3 letters can make the difference between a couple hundred and a couple of $1,000. You want to make sure your seller understands the difference and how vitally important that is. Pottery tile, marblehead pottery tile. Again, difference between $20 and $250. Not huge dollar amounts. It's not a huge difference. Nobody's going to, retire or not retire because of a couple $100. But it's a couple $100. That's a really nice dinner here in Kansas City. My wife and I went out to our 25th anniversary dinner last week and didn't spend a couple $100. So, that is important money. So again, thanks for the comment, Paige. If anybody else is watching, has questions or comments, go ahead and please post them. We'll be happy to respond to them here in the last couple of minutes as we wrap things up. But again, if you're looking for a seller, do your homework, spend some time researching how they perform. We just had somebody contact us today who registered for an auction 3 years ago, never bid on anything, hasn't registered for an auction since, but they contacted us today about selling items because they've been watching how we proceed, how we present, how we process antiques, art, and collectibles. Don't know if that lead is going to come into anything or turn into anything for us or for them, but we try and do a really good job of presenting things to the best light as possible and accurately doing so. And I think that's what most of our buyers are really looking for. And I would say that our results over the last couple of years have really borne that out. So thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, post them here. Send us a direct message. You can always give us a phone call at 816-283-3633. You look at our website for upcoming auctions, kcauctioncompany.com. Or you can send us an email at info at letter kcauctioncompany.com. Letter K, letter C, auction, and company is spelled out.com. Post messages here on YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever you see this video. Go ahead and post questions or comments or concerns. We'll be happy to answer them as best we can. Thank you all so much. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next Friday.